Hey, what's up, sports bettors? Matt Moda here with OddsJam, coming to you with three early sharp bets to lock in for week 2 of the NFL. I love doing this, getting in on a line early, watching it move over the course of the week in your favor. I did this a ton leading up to week 1. Obviously, I did it much earlier than a week before the season because we had all off season, but I placed a ton of early bets. A majority of them ended up beating the closing line. Had a relatively successful week 1 of the NFL season. My 4 best bets went 3-1. The podcast bets from Sweat the Bet, which if you want to subscribe, you can hear on Apple, Spotify at Sweat the Bet. I'm one of the hosts as well as Andrew Kim, aka the Parlay Doc. We had 3 bets each. I went 3-0. He went 2-1, so 5-1 between the two of us. So all in all, very successful week 1 of the NFL betting, and a lot of that had to do with getting in on lines early. So, as I mentioned, I have 3 early week 2 best bets that you should lock in as soon as you are watching this, which I'm going to do as well. Number 1, Bills -9, -110 odds on FoxBet, 1 unit. Next one, Texans Broncos over 43. Let me just lock this one in. So there is the first one actually locked in. Next up, Packers -9 at PointsBet. Let me go ahead and lock this one in. So we are good to go. This one has been locked in. Bet placed. Perfect. All 3 bets have been locked in. Packers -9, over 43, Texans versus Broncos, Bills -9. So let's chat about it. Of course, when I'm looking at betting, when I'm going through the betting landscape, I always start with the OddsJam Positive Expected Value page. Using the OddsJam Positive EV page, you can gain an edge over the sportsbook you are placing the bet with. I used OddsJam when I placed my 4 best bets. Andrew and I used OddsJam with our podcast bets, had a ton of success. Overall was 8-2 between those 10 bets. So this first one that I locked in was Bills Titans. I actually locked in Bills -9 as opposed to 9.5. And I'll show you why. So if you're on the Positive EV page and you want to look into the holistic betting market, which is really cool, which is what you can do. You click into a play, and then you open in a new tab. You open the event page in a new tab. And this is what I have up here. So looking at this page, it pulls up the point spread, the main lines for all of the major sports books. So we see not just what books have pricing for 9.5, but we see for 9, for 9.5, for 10. And as we can see, most of these books are pricing this spread at either 9.5 or 10. Only PointsBet and FoxBet are pricing this spread at 9. Another thing that I really like about it, some books that are pricing the spread at 9.5 and 10 either have it at even money or they're favoring the Bills in this scenario. Tipico has it at 9.5, but they're favoring the Bills at this number. They have Bills -9.5 at -120. They have the Titans side of that at +100. Bet Rivers has the main line of this spread at 10, but look at how they price 9.5 at -120. The other side of that, the Titans side, at -103, favoring the Bills. FoxBet is the only book that has pricing for 9.5 that is favoring the Titans at this number. The OddsJam line pulled from the sharpest sportsbook in the world, heavily favoring the Bills at 9, heavily favoring the Bills at 9.5. It's not until we get a full point higher than what we locked it in at -9, when they start to have it even out, when they start to favor the Titans side of it. And another sharp book, Bet Online, prices this at 10, a full point higher than what we got it at. And these numbers between 9 and 10 is really, really important when you consider how scoring works in the NFL. A touchdown is 7 points, a field goal is 3 points. Getting numbers below 10, I think, is really valuable. It's still a positive expected value page if you remove the VIG from these 2 numbers of the OddsJam line. So you go to calculators, no VIG, fair odds. So you type in both sides of the OddsJam line to remove the VIG. Type in, so it's -119, and it was +105. Puts the true line of this at about -111, and we locked it in on FoxBet at -110. So it's still a positive expected value play. So I'm still getting value from this bet. I'm just pulling it a little bit safer, getting it at -110, because that's where I find the bigger values. Getting this at -9 at -110. So this is my first one, the Bills -9 against the Titans. For football reasons, you guys get it. The Bills look like they're just a total machine. They mop the floor with the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champs on opening night. Titans lost to the lowly Giants. Now, I will admit that week 1 isn't always representative of how the season is going to go along. If you remember, both 1 seeds lost in week 1 last year. By 1 seeds, meaning teams that ended the year as the 1 seed in their conference. One of these was the Titans, one of these teams. They finished the year as the 1 seed, and they got pounded in week 1 by the Cardinals. But the reason why I'm backing the Bills in this one, number 1, they're going to have the extra rest. Studies have shown teams that play on Thursday cover at a much higher rate than normal, having that extra rest. So that's 1, Bills having the extra rest. Number 2, Bills team is clearly on a different level. The Titans came into the season with question marks, losing A.J. Brown, losing in the playoffs the way they did to the Bengals, whereas the Bills came into the season clearly motivated, clearly ready to take the next step. And also the Titans beat the Bills last year. So I think the Bills are going to be ready for revenge. This is going to be a revenge season for the Bills. I think that they're going to keep just stomping on teams, hoping to get past the Chiefs essentially in the playoffs. So I like this one for football reasons. The next one that I locked in was the Packers -9. Locked this one in on PointsBet at -107 odds. Same logic here. The EV play was at 9.5, but we could get a full half point lower and get it at -107 on PointsBet. Only 2 cents difference for the whole half point. As you can see, OddsJam values this at about a 5-cent difference, and we're only getting it at 2 cents, which is why I ended up locking this one in at -9. Same logic here. Every other book is pricing this spread either at 9.5 or 10, and books that are pricing it at those numbers are still either favoring the Packers or having it at even money. Sharp Books, Bet Online, and the OddsJam line price this spread at Packers -10, and they favor the Packers at -10. Bet Online has Packers -10 at -113. The Bears side of that at -107. The OddsJam line has the Packers -10 at -109. The Bears side of that at -106, favoring the Packers. Other books, FanDuel has us at -118. On the other side of it at -104, favoring the Packers. Typico, same thing. Other books have this at even money at -10, except for the Sharp Book. So getting this at -107 at -9 on PointsBet, I think represents a great value. So again, I locked this one in, Packers -9. So now let me just add this one to my bet tracker. I put $100 on this one, click save. And now the last one, the Broncos versus Texans over 43, -110 odds. Admittedly, this one has a little bit more risk because we haven't seen the Broncos play yet, obviously. So we'll have to see how their offense looks tonight. With that said, this Texans defense stinks. Russell Wilson is very good. The Texans put up a decent amount of points, even though they played against a good defense in the Colts. So we'll have to see how the Broncos defense looks tonight. But initial thoughts, I like this one. Obviously, it's mathematically profitable. If you go into the event page again, we can see every book prices this total at 43.5. Literally every other book except for WinBet at -110. The OddsJam line has this at -123. Other side of it at +107. Puts the VIG on that one, the no VIG line, at about -111. And we got it at -110 on WinBet. And another reason, same logic here. I know I'm repeating myself, but these things are really, really important to look out for. Literally every book that has pricing for this, A, prices it above this number, as I mentioned, by a half point, and B, favoring the over. BetMGM has the over at -115, the under at -105. FanDuel, same thing, -114, under at -106. Caesars has it at even money at that number, as does BetRivers. But DraftKings, -115, other side of that at -105. We are getting a clear outlier betting this on WinBet at -110. So these are my 3 early bets that I think you guys should lock in right now. Bills -9, Texans, Broncos over 43, and Packers -9. Relying on 2 favorites to cover the spread, betting on points to be scored. That all sounds good. That's going to be it for this video. Those are going to be my 3 bets. Lock these in. Definitely recommend doing so. Make sure to subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel to get my best bets moving forward, as well as the OddsJam podcast to get our best bets. But that's going to be it. So I appreciate you guys watching, and have a good one.